この配信はグラのスポンサーの提供でお送りします。 Hello, everyone. And first things first, here I am being a responsible streamer. Like, ooh, let me update the sponsor list right before the stream. And I'm like, oh no, Zerzon is no longer subscribing. Oh no, and then the stream starts. And Zerzon resubs. Thank you so much for the resub. I will add you back to the list of sponsors. Yeah, the sponsor screen. It is a way to acknowledge the people who support me. And of course, the usual line is この番組は裏のスポンサーの提供でお送りします。But I changed 番組 for 配信。Bangumi, it's like this transmission. It also works. But 配信 is stream. It's more. I felt like it's more accurate. And I used my little twist on the take. But let me get my hellos in order. Hello, Mr. Pickle McDillionaire over there on YouTube. I tip off my head to you. And hello, Mr. Felon. Zerzon. Dizzy. Hello, Dizzy. Wait, aren't you live? I thought you were live. I thought Dizzy was live streaming. And Vexel, welcome. And thank you so much, both Vexel and Zerzon, for renewing your subscriptions. I wonder if there is a way to dynamically update it. I wonder too, as well. I've been getting more and more tech-savvy with streaming things later. I mean, I have redeems and everything. Look at me, I'm a professional streamer. I have the bare minimum that all other channels have now. I'm becoming more and more tech-savvy, but I mean, if it is something that is bothersome, I would be annoyed by updating it manually. For now, I don't have that many people supporting me, and I feel like it's the minimum I can do. I mean, people are showing me support. I feel like the fact that I do update it manually also adds to the acknowledgement. And yes, today I am writing a pirate story. I love writing. This is Notion, by the way. In terms of text program that people use, I think if you're starting out as a writer, the text program that you use is very important for the early stages, because some have a lot of tools that serve as distraction. Some people need autocorrect. Some people need a more raw look. After you get more used to writing anything goes, the main reason why I'm using Notion, I'm not sponsoring or advocating, saying this is better or worse, is that it's very easy for me to create a page, and like call it chapter 1, and then just navigate the links. Create, if I want to go back, just create a link. Wait. Link to page, pirate story, and then I can just navigate the pages. And of course, I'm writing. I love fantasy literature, sci-fi, and this is the start. I wonder if I should move over from Obsidian to Notion. Asks Vexel. I never use Obsidian. I didn't start with Notion for writing. I started for organizing my agenda. Basically, I wanted an editable text that I could access both on my phone and my computer. And then I enjoyed the platform, and I moved more and more of my workflow of different things that I do towards Notion. And hello, Mi-chan! You cannot get the first today. Zerzon got that pleasure. And I am writing a pirate story. That's my new thing. And this won't be like I've written some short stories on stream. Most important thing in the typewriter program, does it make when you type? I've had a loud keyboard before and I loved it. Now I prefer silent. I actually prefer not to have that. I've been a fan before. Now I have a very soft keyboard and I don't want the sound actually. Maybe I should have it for the stream, like an ASMR kind of thing. But yes, this is the start of a brand new story. I want it to be an ongoing story, more than one chapter. I don't want it to be like a short story, no, an actual story. So the first step for me it is world building. And why a pirate story? Because I'm writing a fantasy story. I'm trying to become an author, like an actual author, paid author, off stream, and I'm writing a fantasy world, more like Wheel of Time, more like Brandon Sanderson's Way of Kings, the Stormlight Archive collection, Lord of the Rings, that kind of stuff. But I've always enjoyed pirates. I don't have a lot of space for pirates in my other story, and I'm like, I want to write pirates. Because pirates in literature symbolize freedom. And that's the main thing, the freedom of being a pirate. How's the zoom? Maybe I can make it a little bit bigger for you. I hope you can see the text okay. Oops. Yes, should be nice like this. Yeah, pirates symbolize freedom. And my first question was, what kind of pirates? Because usually we associate pirates with the ocean. Sailing the ocean, brave forth towards a brand new world. It's historically pirates did navigate the oceans, and this is already the first thing where we can start twisting the formula. For example, if we think about the dress of the Emerald Sea, this is a work by Brandon Sanderson, and the ocean is not water. That's the twist. The ocean is spores. They navigate through a sea of plants. There's also the common trend, because pirates are freedom, and what's a main idea of freedom in our imagination? Flying. Flying has always been pretty highly associated with freedom. So sky pirates is also a trend. They can be fantasy, but sometimes this starts leaning more towards sci-fi, steampunk, that kind of genre. And I will be writing prose, by the way, later on, but I'm starting with organizing what am I working on. This is the note-taking. And before the stream, I was thinking about all of these questions. For example, even if I use the ocean, a fine twist will be, how do we navigate the ocean? One idea I had right away was sea chariots, for example. We often associate boats with crews, with a lot of people, but if there's sea creatures that are tameable, like seahorses, not the actual seahorse, but kind of maybe a tameable hippo that pulls a chariot, we can have more. Using the fauna and flora, we can have new ways of traversing the oceans. But the more I thought about all of these pirates are stinky true, the most important thing, I was like, I want my own twist in the design of things. And I was like, okay, we have water pirates, we have air pirates, what about earth pirates? And I think that's the line I'm going to go towards. Underground ground pirates. By the way, I do a lot of typos, and I do not care about them. I'm like, typo correction is for a different stage of the writing process. The most important thing in your writing is finding how you write. And I've realized that not giving a damn about typos is how I work best. And they are easy to fix later on. It's not like a huge narrative flaw. Just mistype away and then fix them later if it works for you. I know that some people are jarred by their own typos and have to stop. Just use the recipe that works for you. But yes, I'm leaning highly towards doing underground pirates. So we have an underground world. Surface is restricted. What do I mean? In the world that we are forging, the story we are creating here today on stream, most people have never, all people in our history until the end end of story will be related to the surface, the end goal. People do not know what the surface is. People don't know the surface. And this will be one of the key elements in an overarching narrative. Everyone lives underground, surface is restricted. Why? How? When? We do not know yet. These are questions, you don't have to have all the answers when you start. These are questions whose answer I will find out as I'm writing. This is a fact, the why, how, when is something that I will discover later. So we are creating a world, people are living underground. What do the pirates target? Trade. And in trade, we have minerals, since it's an underground world, gas, and sunlight. One thing that I want in my world that I'm creating is that if people are living underground, their sunlight is a very limited resource. And what I'm thinking is that there are entities on the surface that control the sunlight access. I'm using entities because they can be machines. Maybe humanity perished from the surface because living conditions were so bad, humanity was forced into an underground exodus. Maybe it is more of a political thing. Maybe there's some humans who've reached absolute power and the underground society is suffering and sustaining an utopian overground society. There are many answers, and right now this is not, at the early stages of my story, this is not relevant. Why are entities on the surface? What are they doing? By the way, this is me, this process that I'm doing right now, is me being fully transparent with how I write. What I'm doing right now on stream, I hope it is being interesting for you. This is how I create worlds, this is how I write, this is how I organize my notes, this is how I start a new world. Basically. And some of these ideas I thought about before. One recommendation I would give to everyone is the process that I'm doing here. Passing ideas from your mind to your paper or digital paper is vital. It is essential. It is different to have a set of concepts floating around your mind or locking them down. And sometimes when you write an idea, you realize it is much better than you first thought. And other times you realize, okay, this idea maybe is horrible. And it is important for you to realize that. You will have horrible ideas when you are writing. You will have. It is undeniable. What is important is that you catch them before it is too late. But yes, sunlight will be a valuable resource. I'm thinking about shafts to the surface that open, and these are like a huge hole that can reach enormous depths. They have like a hatch door on top that opens or closes and lets sunlight in. And when I say that sunlight is a valuable resource, the pirates will not target sunlight. They can target, for example, plants. Plants are highly valuable, plants that need sunlight, not all plants. And they are a way of using sunlight, and maybe there's trade of seeds between, for example, there's a sunspot that belongs to one kingdom or one nation, and there's another sunspot that belongs to another nation, and they did a huge diplomatic trade of plants, where they granted access. For example, we give you the seed of an apple tree. Apples are a bad idea because you can get seeds easily from the fruit, but it is like you get the seed from the plant, it is being transported by a secured convoy, and that is a prime target for the pirates. Are these humans or mole pirates? Human pirates. The main story will be around humans. Human pirates. These were ideas that are cut. I'm writing notes, we will organize them after writing. So, another thing that is very important is that when you think about a society and a world that you are building, it is comprised of a lot of things: laws, culture, buildings, writing system. It can go on. I'm trying to go furniture, technology, techniques, um, arts, sculpture, maybe literature within this society. Have I used architecture? No, architecture, celebrations, what are religion, politics. I'm doing this vast list for a reason that I'm about to highlight. Let me think. Transports, transportation, sanitation, healthcare, education. Now I'm looking around me. Music, comfort, sports, that's a big one. Clothes. What else do I have in my room for ideas? Anime figures, the hallmark of a society. Why am I listing all of this? Some people who are novices to world building see all of this, and you are... Oh, food is a great one. Thank you, Pickle. Lots of potatoes and carrots. Lots of canned food if it's an underground world, I feel like. Of course, minerals, materials in general, like they have wood or not. When you're world building, you may think, okay, all of these things exist, so I need to explore every single one of them. I need to make them all super detailed. And my answer to that is, it depends. Why are you building a world? What is your goal? Are you building it for a video game? Are you building it for a book? And for a book, what I usually say is that you can touch upon all of these topics very lightly. And if you want to make your world alive, grab 3 or 4 and go in depth on them. I think it is better to do a distinction between this topic is very important in depth and not for the story that I'm doing. And you should try to tie the world building to the story that you're telling. For example, in my fantasy world, food is very important. Here, considering that they're living underground, I would put food more in the second plane, just because what I want to make the hallmark, the most important one, is depth. I want societies to be shaped by the depth that they are. This is a 3D world. Since we are working underground, we need to use their strength. And maybe societies near the surface have a type of culture, societies more depth have a different type of culture. Maybe there's like discrimination below the surface dwellers or those who are close to the surface. So depth will be one of the most important aspects of the culture. The second one, I would go for the soil type. And this, for example, we have architecture. Architecture, how you build your buildings, will be based highly on the soil type. We are building underground, we are digging tunnels. Is this hard rock? If it is hard rock, maybe the houses have rough edges, maybe the streets can be smaller because you can make smaller tunnels, while if you're working with something more muddy, maybe you need to dig them bigger and have more supports. So the soil type of the society. Another thing that I wanted to be a key aspect is gases. if you're doing an underground world, I think one of the main restrictions is gases, and here we need venting of gases. We need to remove bad gases. We have poisonous gases. One thing that I like when I'm doing this effort is that we have here Tress of the Emerald Sea as a adjacent, quote unquote, adjacent work. And the second one, I will get Oxygen Not Included. I think that's the name of the video game. I think having awareness of the works that are adjacent to yours is very important. I think some people are like, oh, is it copy? Is it a derivative work? Are you creating your own story? Some people prefer not to think of other works at all, and at the end do an effort. I like to be conscious of the works that I'm taking inspiration from. For example, there was a work that I was writing, a short story, where the characters and all were fine, but I was like, something about this doesn't feel original, even though I created it. I started thinking about similar works, and I realized that my main cast was basically Arcane, the League of Legends story. So I like to have a thing of adjacent works that serve as inspiration, so I can, from time to time, check the adjacent works and see if, according to my own standards, if I'm being too derivative. And sometimes it can be good. Maybe it's like, okay, this is similar, and that is on purpose. Or if it is not on purpose, and if you feel like the degree of inspiration you are taking is harming you. Because the more you take inspiration, the more compared you will be. That is just normal. If your main cast is like Pirate Frodo, Pirate Sam, Pirate Aragorn, Pirate Gandalf, Pirate Legolas, you will be compared to Lord of the Rings. And maybe I don't want to be compared to Lord of the Rings, because it is a very strong work. But going back to the gases, we need venting to remove bad gases. Oh, the City of Ember, I do not know, but I will write it to check later. City of Ember, check later. That's another fun thing in terms of adjacent works. On my own fantasy book, there is a particular system that when I read The Wheel of Time, I was like, no, this is very similar to my book, but I had the idea even before I knew Wheel of Time existed. And the same happened to Avatar The Last Airbender. Now, Gachakuta was the latest anime where I felt some things associated with my writing, but it is different. I consider my book is completed before I even knew Gachakuta was a thing, even though Gachakuta released earlier. Venting to remove bad gases and guarantee oxygen access. I think I'm doing typos, but I don't care about them. Sorry if you are watching this and you do care. Depth, soil type, gases. Oh, let's put them in a list like this. Soil type, gases. Water access. For example, water and food are important in every single story. If I'm navigating, it's like I'm running out of... Even in the big ocean, you can run out of water. But that's the thing. From the moment that gases are that much important, for example, if you're diving underground, oxygen can start being more rare. You're under different pressures. You need to change the constitution of the gas you are breathing. If you focus on every single survivability aspect, it will be too much. And so far, I want to focus on gases. And another one that I found interesting was celebrations. Mainly because of... I was thinking about The Matrix, and they have that huge celebration in the city. And I feel like underground rave-like celebrations, I mean, they don't have to be rave, we'll still determine the technology level. But I feel like underground cultures can go for some very cool celebrations. And for this, I would even go as far as if I want to have this work being more developed and more advanced, I would consult with sociologists because a lot of them study celebrations, study underground art forms, studying how people celebrate. I would consult with sociologists to guarantee that the celebrations in my book make sense. But these are the main societal aspects that I want to consider. All of these, we have a list we may want to pick. For example, religion. I feel like you can do great fantasy works focusing on religion. I would rather have it as a second plane. Maybe have one character say that they worship the earth god, another worships the metal god or something. Maybe more paganism, maybe. But I would not bring religion into the forefront. Celebrations, yes. Architecture, I will bring it tied to the soil type. Sanitation, as I said. Okay, let's make just the sunlight management aspect. But yeah, sanitation, it is important. And of course, I will just put resources will be important, resource management. And that's sunlight and minerals. Oh, and of course, in the politics, I don't want to preach overall politics, but trade politics. Since we are talking about pirates, economy, caves. Caves, I like it. Oh, there's the natural aspect. Oh, nature. Related to depth, nature, and in nature I have number of caves, density, how known they are. Like, am I branching the unknown, or am I branching the unknown, or am I going to a cave that everyone goes? It's like a walk in the park level of cave, or is it I will find a eldritch abomination kind of cave? So number of caves, density, how known they are, fauna and flora of the cave. And in trade politics, I want to have the tunnel networks as a key aspect. What are the main routes? Are there like, okay, there's government approved tunnels, and also in opposition illegal tunneling. And illegal tunneling is very bad because you can compromise infrastructure, and the government approved tunnels are those that the big trade networks use, are supervised, but also maybe an illegal tunnel can try to target the middle of a government approved tunnel and branch. Like, here we are in the middle of the road. Hello. So the tunnel networks are very important. Oh, there's autocorrect. That's going to help. I mean, it's still... Okay. Soil type. I think all of this is bold. Let's put it not bold, and let's put this bold. I can even... That's why I like using Notion. Turn into a heading. Yes. Organization. And now, can I move it? No, I just moved the heading. This can also be a heading too. Wait, that's a heading 2. No, that's a heading 3. Let's put this a heading 2. But yes, the trade politics. Now, for the story, I feel like we can hop onto story now. This is a good setup. Let's go for our story. Unplot. And let's create our first character. Let's add a list of characters. And our main character, there is an archetype that I thought about exploring, which is a archetype that is extremely common, and especially for side characters, but I want to write it as a main character, which is Law Enforcer turned Pirate. Our main character, I'm thinking about going for this archetype. And I want it to be a female character. There is a side character I want to include, which is main character best friend. And this will be also law enforcement. This will be a thing that I like to do because I think it is underrepresented in media, is that nowadays we see a lot of good representation of, for example, homosexual relationships and things like that. What I want to see more is heterosexual pure friendships. It feels like in every setting that there's a male and a female character, like they're working together, that it needs to be some kind of tension between them, like, ooh, and I want this to be the most wholesome friendship, even though it's a main character and a side character. I want this to be a zero romance relationship, even though it's a female and a male character. It is a thing that I want from the get-go. And one thing that I want is that from this side character, main character will turn pirate. This character will never be seen again. Will feel betrayed and never be seen. Why did never be seen again? Often when there's like, oh, I was on this side and I flipped to the other side, and the previous best friend turns into a rival. And I feel like if you do that, the price of betrayal and the price of changing sides becomes actually less deep. Because the thing of betrayal, the thing of you abandon something that you build up towards, that theme is buried between the new rivalry. It's like, old thing gone, now they are a rivalry, and it becomes epic. And I want this relationship, the loss of this friendship will be a price to pay. I want this to be a stake and this to be a price to pay. Like, the main character will turn pirate for a reason and has a lot of things for turning pirate, but some things against. The decision will not be easy. And I want this side character to never be seen again and to be something like something that was actually lost. This will be the main loss of our main character for turning pirate, will be the loss of this friendship. So let me check the notes and see if we are starting to get ready to hop into... Oh, there's another thing that I want to go for before starting writing. It is chapter structure. And for chapter 1... Does it... Let me... Okay, chapter 1... I want it to be in media res. I think this is how you write it. And it will be highly inspired by the opening sequence of Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann. This is another show that I strongly associate with freedom, with overcoming the odds. I mean, I'm talking about starting underground, and that's kind of like how Tengen Toppa starts. So let's add this to the adjacent works. Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann. I'm happy in the adjacent works. I feel like being derivative from only one genre For example, if you're doing a new isekai and you draw from 5 different isekais, it is bad. I like how we have a book, a literature book, a video game, and an anime. Oh, there's one thing I want to borrow from One Piece, and that's the bounties. One Piece didn't create them, but when I think of bounties, I think about One Piece. Bounties will be... oh, let's not put it here. Let's put it here. Bounties. And, of course, bounty hunters. If we are doing pirates, I want bounties and I want bounty hunters who are like working at the edge of the law. Like they serve the law, but they are not completely lawful. I want bounty hunters in my world. And there's a lot of things, for example, technology level and things like that are missing, but I prefer to discovery write them. There is a difference between what you plan and what you just stumble upon when writing. So chapter 1, it will be highly inspired by the opening sequence of Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann, and for those of you who are wondering what does that mean, we'll have our main character leading a massive fleet. A fleet, of course, will be of like drills that navigate. People will probably, since we are pirates, we have a crew. Okay. Pirate crews operate massive drills. They can both drill and create new tunnels and just navigate the existing tunnels. What's this story about? Hello, Xander. Hydron Xander. I'm exploring. I'm still discovering what the story is about. I'm just starting it. It will be a story about underground pirates. Basically, imagine the average pirate story where people set out to sea. You have the pirates working at the margin of the law, trying to raid trade, to get rich, maybe to support a cause against the government. This is a world where all humanity lives underground, and people have started forming groups of pirates. They raid the main tunnel networks, they raid the trading convoys between underground kingdoms that are sending minerals towards each other, trading canisters of gas, trading things that require sunlight. For example, maybe the surface kingdoms close to the surface can grab trees. Wood is a highly valuable commodity. I see inspired by Gurren Lagann somewhere. I'm already interested in your story. Thank you. And oh yeah, vitamin D. Yeah, vitamin D is the one that we need sunlight, right? Oh, that's another thing we can think about diseases, but I don't want to go to that angle right now. The Gurren Lagann inspired is that I'm thinking about my chapter structure. And of course, Gurren Lagann does have drills and does have it starts underground before going to the surface. And I'm thinking the first sequence of my story to be like the first sequence of Gurren Lagann. Gurren Lagann, for those of you who don't know, starts with our main character, Simon, leading a huge fleet. They are in the skies, like in space, even though the story starts online. Yeah, exactly. Simon, atop the fleet, are all the lights in the sky are enemies. And then I think it's Bhutan, the humanized version of the mole, fire the Hellstream cannon and things like that. That opening sequence, even though it never happened in the anime, which is really funny. We start with a sequence that shows the future that never happened. And there's a lot of theories. Some people say that is the future if the story went awry, and that's kind of like the bad ending. Yeah, and that's the thing. We start underground, but the story starts with this epic sequence. And my first chapter, I want it to be our main character leading a massive fleet of drills that are doing a raid on the surface. We still don't know what the surface has. When I say we don't know, I, as a writer, also do not know what the surface has. Why are there no humans on the surface? Why is it such a thing? Such a rare thing? But the first sequence will be our character leading a huge armada, ready to raid the surface and ready to fire the cannons, and then we do not know what happens, and we jump straight into chapter 2. Basically, that's how I want to start. I feel like, especially nowadays in modern literature, there's a lot of people who use the story of Lord of the Rings will not get published in nowadays literature landscape. You need to start strong. You really need to sell your story, and starting in the middle of a climax is a good idea. It's also like we have a humble beginning, and it shows that, okay, the scales will grow along the story. It's a good way for one of the most important things in any art form is managing expectations. This first chapter, starting more forward, is it like an urban fantasy or normal fantasy? I think this will be more urban style, this one in particular. My main book, I'm writing a book, it's more, I would say, very normal fantasy. It's swords, elves, not elves, but like magic, archers, and things like that. This will be more urban fantasy, more, this will be very grounded. I mean, so far, it only has sci-fi elements. I will still need to think, how do I make it more fantasy, or what scale does fantasy perform here? I will still need to think about that. Because so far this seems way more pure sci-fi. But yes, chapter 2, the main goal will be to introduce our main character. Nice, thank you, thank you. And as I said, I am doing, like, I have other stories that I'm working off stream. This I am creating as I go. I am creating this as I chat with chat. We introduce our main character, and I'm thinking if we start right from on action or on daily life. I think we start on action. Action scene. Capture important pirate. Chapter 3 will be escorting the pirate. Like, this is the action, this is the post-action. And then daily life. We will not start with daily life, but it is important to show how is the daily life underground. The pirate will plant seed of doubt in main character. Highly charismatic pirate. So we start. Chapter 1 is I will call this chapter 0. Chapter 1, we introduce our main character. There's an action sequence so we can show how the action works in our world. What kind of equipment do people use and things like that. How do fights go? It is like swords or guns. What are the important resources? Second, it's like we capture the pirate, we will escort it, we have talk, and the pirate will be very charming and like a prisoner in captivity, but charming, planting seeds of doubt in our main character. And then we have our main character going through the daily life, like things. This will be really grounded, things like brushing teeth, putting on clothes, sleeping. Like, this will be the humanizing side of character and showing how society organizes their daily life. Maybe this is becoming too much. Maybe I will do chapter 2 being just the escort and a new chapter for the daily life. One thing I want to put on the daily life is watching the news, reading the news and discussing them at a cafe. This is a very nice way to do a macro introduction of the world. Because we have our world building here, our nodes, like there's different kingdoms, there's trade polities, there's tunnels and everywhere. We do not want to bombard our readers with all of these concepts. That's how you get readers away. But maybe we find the most important topics and they are being discussed on the news. And in this chapter 3, we are introducing them. This is a great news, is one of the best ways to tell your readers, what is important in that world. What do people prioritize? And you can also create, this is good for creating, I don't want to say class divisions, but I think it's the best way to portray it. Because the news, some topics will be interesting for our crowd, while other topics will maybe be interesting for the reader, but not for the target audience. And that shows that maybe some people care about the state of the world, others just want to watch sports. That's what I mean. Maybe when they are talking about politics, our character is like, this is very important. And everyone in the bar is like, boring. And then they start. And in politics, our city of Hole 3, 4, 5 will fight against Hole for the upcoming match of the championship. And the bar is like, the referee. And that's a good way to create that's also good for creating a sentiment of not fitting in on our main character. That's good for it. Because if our main character is alone in how they react to the news, we are creating an idea of segregation of this character, and this can lead to the reasons why our character will become a pirate. Because it doesn't, this will plant a seed of doubt, but a character doesn't go from being a law enforcer into being a pirate because someone in a car said, "Ooh, I thought I'm very charming," and I said, "No, there has to be preconditions for it," and maybe this sentiment of not fitting has always been there, but even if it has been there, we have to show our readers that that exists, and we have to show, not tell. It's much better to make our character be bored at a bar than to say, "Oh, our character is really cool. They are a police, but they feel like, society. I'm not a fan of them." Like, good writing is about making people understand things, not telling them our character is like. That's why I like to have notes and then writing. And I feel like with this groundwork, this is a lot of notes beforehand. This is things more organized now. I feel like I can dive into chapter 1. I don't feel ready to do chapter 0. Maybe after writing a few chapters, I will be more confident in tackling chapter 0. It will be the first chapter a new reader reads, but I don't feel right now qualified to write it. So let's go. Okay, we can use this. Create a heading. Chapters. And we create a new page. And we call it chapter 1. And let me add, I like to add links. Oh, I can just write link to page pirate story. This is also not going to be called pirate story. It's just a temporary name. Let me add chapter 0 here as well, so I don't forget that I have a chapter 0. Okay, chapter. Okay, let's not use Roman numerals. Let's just write actual 1. We can think about those details later on. Oh, and I was just remembering a side tangent I wanted to talk about. Because Pickleback Dillionaire talked about vitamin D. I think I remember reading somewhere, because we were talking about pirates and all, one of the great problems of navigation was scurvy, the lack of vitamin C. And I think like our body is not able to produce vitamin C from other things. We need to actually ingest vitamin C. And I think that was a mutation that we had in prehistoric history, and that most animals can produce their own vitamin C. So they do not have scurvy, they can metabolize it. There's like 3 animals, if I remember correctly, total that cannot metabolize vitamin C, and we are one of them, and that's why we have scurvy. I think one of the reasons that people give for it is that even though it is a quote-unquote bad mutation, not being able to metabolize vitamin C, primitive humanity was in places where our diet had so much vitamin C by nature that we kind of evolved into losing that capability because it was pointless. And then when we were out at high seas, we needed that capability, but we didn't have it. If I remember correctly, that's how things went. But I was not alive in before in primitive times. Shocking, I know. VTuber wasn't alive in the primitive era, but I think that's how it went. So, chapter 1. And we want to set things off right with the first line is so important. And for the first line, I mean, this is chapter 1, not chapter 0, but the first line of every chapter is one of those moments you have to stop and think. There's 3 or 4 options. There's the establishing shot option, which is like you would start in the halls of the great tunnels, deep below the layers of rock and stone. Like, you can start more with the... I call this the establishing shot. It's like you have a movie, you have the camera panned out, you are showing the world, and then suddenly you zoom in and lock to our characters, and it's like... And in the middle of all these people were running. This works, but if I want to start with an action scene, this is not good. This is how I would start. Probably a fantasy book. Dicta book. Like, maybe there's an upcoming battle in the hills, the wind was blowing and things like that. It would be a day like any other, but alas, 2 armies were marching towards their battle, and then you can do the establishing shot. But since you start in an action sequence, a good way is to start with either an action or a sentence, a dialogue. I feel like these are the 2 best options, and the sentence, and the action has to be a powerful action. Like, if our characters are using guns, firing a shot or things like that. If it's a sentence, it needs to convey a lot. And I'm thinking, that's why I wrote the 2 quotation marks. I'm thinking of starting with a sentence that establishes right away what is happening. And what is happening is our characters are in a pursuit. This is the part where I don't know why I started with fantasy, and I feel very leaning towards guns in this particular story. In my fantasy, more type of novels, there's no guns, but I feel like gunshots, like in an underground setting, it makes sense. Female MC turns pirates in the future. That is cool. Yes. Um, the female MC starts with as a law enforcer and turns into pirate. And for example, the level of technology being guns also makes sense because I want okay, let me go to back to the notes. Let me add just a weapon stabs. Weapons. And we'll have pistols and burrowing torpedoes. For engagements, they could be like the two pirate vessels, can be pirate drills, can be in the same tunnel, but you can also fire a burrowing torpedo from one tunnel to the other. I don't know why, but I hesitate to use elves when I write fantasy. Yeah, it is common. You just create pet peeves and things like that. And as I said, I'm usually not a fan of guns in fantasy. There's, for example, Warcraft is very fantasy, and gnomes or dwarves use guns. More like they can be more flintlock style and things like that. But for this story, I'm feeling like it works well. For the level of technology to be more gun drill, like more of a little bit more steampunk style. If I don't want them to have like an M16 super high tech, I want it to be more, yeah, more Pirates story needs guns. I agree, and more like single shot kind of things, and then a long reload. I'm thinking more of that style and not like. I mean, if there's a lot of people, but machine guns only mounted / turret, like a defense, like a Gatling gun, like you see in the early, in some early gunfire battles. There's mounted Gatling guns and things like that. That's like the peak I want to go for. I don't want random law enforcement to pull off an M16 or things like that. More things, more. Yeah, I need to have a black beard. I mean, considering my design, I need to have Captain Black stash. Them with a dark mustache. Uses oil that he found underground, like tar, to instead of wax on his stash. Okay, I'm going to. I don't like to forget things, but that's a very goofy idea. But I like to have them down and then decide if I discard them or not. Goofy stuff. I like to have it written down. Captain Black's stash. Who uses tar to wax his mustache. I mean, and the thing is, for a goofy character like this, they can be not real. We can have cartoons in this world, and Captain Blackstash can be a part, like a mythological character even within this world. So sometimes goofy ideas can work as goofy stuff inside the own world. And what I'm thinking, I want this to be, okay. Shout to stop interrupted by Edward Teacher. Yes. Edward Thatch. No, yeah, Edward Teach. Teach. That's the name. Edward Teach. I was thinking, what? Thatcher is another person. Edward Teach. The names of pirates were ruined for me because of One Piece. Because there's Teach, there's Edward Newgate. They take names from real pirates, and I start having One Piece pirates and real pirates all mixed up. Drake, I think, was a privateer. Margaret Thatcher would make a terrific pirate. Margaret Thatcher, captain of the Iron Maidens. I will not go there in my book. But I could see some authors making that work. What do you shout? Because it feels too modern to be like something like LAPD, drop your weapons. That I remember that line from gaming. But the drop your gun is a good angle. They are trying to. And this is a shout. I don't like to do all caps often. Nah, I'm not going to start my book. It feels too like this. Shout. And I want this to be our main character is saying like, there is still a way, like go diplomatic option. And as soon as they are saying that, like a shot passes by their head, like and hits a metal and ding. That's the kind of thing I want for our literal first scene. And I'm just thinking, okay, I'm going to do, because I'm lacking strength in words right now, and being blocked when writing is not good. What I like to do is, if you feel like you are struggling to get strength in your words, and if you're streaming, it can become hard. When I say strength in words, it's like you can write the same sentence in 100 different ways. If you use the right words, it's a lot more powerful. Like the sentiment, the reader knows right away, like, bam, this is a good scene. And right now, I'm not tapping into that potential. When you're not tapping into that potential, what I say is, just go. Keep writing, keep going forward, and then you can go back, you can revise, you can edit. Let's get the first chapter out, and when we focus on improving it. There's revision and there is writing, let's just... Shouted. What's the name of our character? What's the good name for... We have 3 characters here. We have our... So we can think about other names further on. We need 3 names for this part of the story. 3 characters. Main, friend, big, quote-unquote big. It's not that big, it's just a big pirate right now, the target of this heist, of this first capture. And we need the name. This is a male character. This is a female character. And the big pirate, I have no idea still. Guybrush the pirate. Guybrush 3 Guybrush 3 pool. The guy from Escape from Monkey Island. What would be a good name? This is the final block, and this is also good because I'm showing that writing is not easy, especially when you're streaming, but that's also what makes it cool. What you can do is the same thing that I was doing here, which is, if you can't think of a strong name, use a weak one, and then you can just replace it after. It's one thing to replace something after you're 50 chapters in. When you're doing the first chapter, it's more important to write, good or poor, it's more important to write something than to write something perfect. So I'm going to give myself a time limit of 3 minutes to come up with these 3 names. I use useful from real life female pirates. Ooh, that's a good idea. Real life female pirates. That's a great idea. Infamous and Bonnie and Mary Reed. Bonnie is a good pirate name. Mary Reed. Reed is also saying he Zhao. I don't want to start with Asian names yet. The ancient pirate. Ooh. Alfield, Rusilla, Grow, Hetha. Hetha? I kind of like Hetha, and not for our main character, but for, okay, the pirate that we capture will also be female and will be called Hetha. I don't know why. There's Lagertha, but that feels a little bit... Joanna, Jean, Elise. Elise is a nice... I don't feel like any of these characters is an Elise. Elise is a name I want to use later on. Elise is a nice name. Mary, Dorothy, Elizabetha, Charlotte, Jackwood, Christina, Maria, Anne, Bonnie, Mary, Reed, Martha, Flora Byrne, Sarah Bishop, Sarah. For our main character, for a cop, because Sarah doesn't sound too piratey. Sarah Bishop. I mean, using first name and last name copy feels like a bit too much. Sarah seems like a good name for a character that it's not a villain name. I mean, there's no such thing as a villain name, but sounds like a good name for a little bit modern, but at least as a placeholder. Let me just check a few more. Linda, Susan. Yeah, Sarah is sometimes having... And since this is not medieval fantasy, names can sound more modern-ish. If you're writing a medieval fantasy and your main character is called Sarah, it will feel jarring. If it is a pirate story, more steampunk underground, Sarah feels more likely. And let's check male privateers. For our... It will be a cop, not a privateer. But I'm going to use a name of a privateer for the friend of Sarah. Jonathan, John, Joanna, John, Lars, Robert. Robert is calling out to me. Rob. Yeah, Robert, and people call him Rob. Robert. The friend Rob. Rob is such a friend name. Everyone has a friend named Rob. I mean, Rob is also... It is ironic because it is the verb. The verb to rob. And this is not I like the irony that the policeman is called Rob. Like in a synonym of steal. Of stealing. I like that. Shout out Sarah. Just as a... Oh, this chapter 1. Wait. Huh? Why is this called? Wait. No, the chapter 1 should be here. Just as a... bullet. What sound do bullets... Now it's the language barrier. Skim? Is that how you say? I need to tune my... Yeah, skin right next to her head. Yeah, that's correct. Whistled past. Oh, that is a... I was like, how do I describe a bullet whistling past? That's actually a great writing lesson, Pickle. If you're thinking, how do I describe a bullet whistling past her head? Maybe use the actual word. Just as a bullet whistled past. Okay, in my the reason why I'm laughing, in my main book, I have no swear words and no profanity. I feel like a kid, like, oh, I wrote a naughty word. But I feel like if you're writing pirates, I mean they are not pirates yet, but if you're writing this sentence, people need to have more of a language like this. It's you can't go like, fuck, said Legolas. Yes. As an Urukai nearly chopped his hand. Oh, you cannot go like that. But if people are firing shots, it makes sense. I guess. Now this... it's an action scene. Communication needs to be fast. Cover me. She ordered... this is hurting me because the action of sequence that I want is this, but I'm not writing strong words. I'm not writing strong set. This is more of a list of operations that we're doing right now. And let's use Robert, and then Rob is more when they are talking directly. Okay, and now... Okay, this is where I think I need to do the zoom out. And hello, Amelia Jax. Because if I start describing movements, like, oh, she went this direction, that direction, people need to understand, are we in a room? Where are we? We start with a bullet, and we say that they are taking cover. Let's add a first line. Taking vibes. I was reading chat. I will address that in a second. Taking cover, and then we describe the where are we. We zoom away. You are taking cover, so we have time as a narrator to zoom out and describe the situation, and that's going to make our I'm going to call this the play-by-play. When I do a play-by-play, it's like only verbs, short things, dropped, ducked, slided, shot, very concise language, and the play-by-play only works if we already know where we are. So we start with a gunfire, taking cover, and then we do a pace pause. And hello, Amelia Jack. How's it going? It's going great. I'm writing on stream. Until now, I was world building. The story will be about underground pirates. It is a pirate story. We often have pirates sailing the oceans or traversing the skies. There's the staple of sky pirates as well. I want to build a story that is about pirates that live underground. Pirates that are tunneling, they are targeting underground trade. And thank you, thank you. And this is all going as it goes. I've been working on this for 1 hour and 20 minutes. I work on other literature projects. I want to be an author, and I write mainly in Portuguese, which is my main language. This project, I started writing 13 years ago. 12, 13 years ago I started writing. This project, what I'm creating here, I started today. My main project is more of a fantasy world, more archers, swords, magic. I'm from Portugal. I am Portuguese, and my main book is being written in Portuguese. This is more of a, and I have more confidence in my Portuguese writing by far. But this is more of an exercise on stream and trying to share the joy of writing, the joy of the craft itself. So let's do the where are we? And for that, I'm going to go for outside. This is like writing, this is my ideas. And I'm thinking that this was an interception. Pirate drill was about to hit a trade convoy. The pirate drill got neutralized, so by a EMP style weapon. I'm thinking some kind of a weapon that's like cables that disable the electronics. Like the police drill shot a cable, sends a surge of energy, zaps the enemy vessel, and it got incapacitated. Both pirates and I'm using police now, maybe I'll use a better term later, but for now I'll keep police. Both pirates and police left their vehicles and are now at a standoff amidst how big is the tunnel? They are in the illegal tunnel. It's a small tunnel because the convoy is in the main line, the trade convoy, and this is a pirate drill that was drilling a tunnel towards the main tunnel and got intercepted while in the small tunnel. Main cover are small rocks and debris. How do we write debris? Debris. It's with an I. Debris that fell and the vehicles themselves. So we start off. Now we can do our description towards the reader. Thank you, Amelia Jax. The only reason why I don't say I'm an author yet is because I'm not, I don't have meaningful income out of it. How long have you been streaming on Twitch? I started on Twitch kind of like a year ago, I believe. I started streaming in general 3 years ago, but I used to stream mostly on YouTube. That's why there's two chats here. One is YouTube chat, the other is Twitch chat. I started on YouTube, and since I transitioned on Twitch, I've actually been having more of a success on Twitch. I mostly stream strategy games like the board game of Go, Age of Empires, but now I finished a PhD in mechanical engineering last month, And now I'm trying to bring more of things that I like doing, like writing and engineering as well. I will bring engineering next week, more towards my streaming career. The shock echoing. Thank you. And of course, I feel English is my second language. I feel like I can write a lot better in Portuguese, and I can write better when I'm not streaming. But this is a challenge. That's why I also feel like I shouldn't be too harsh on myself, because I feel like the more I write myself streaming, the better I will get at it. Both streaming and writing are two different art forms to tasks that I'm doing, and they are both demanding. And I feel like if, okay, this is my first streaming while writing in 2 or 3 years, and I will do superbly, like amazing as a streamer and as a writer, that would just be, what's the word? A bit naive out of me. You need to match your expectations to what you are doing. And right now I am aware that I'm doing something difficult. But that's what makes it enjoyable. The shock echoing through the tunnels. The standoff. They were locked. They were locked in a standoff. On one side, Sarah and Robert took cover behind the sturdy metal sheets or plates? Plates of an armored if you're using sturdy, let's remove the sturdy. If I'm using armored, the metal plates of an armored police drill. And they do not know. Okay, I'm going to use this. They think they are in numerical disadvantage, but they aren't. Oh, and thank you so much, Amelia Jax, for the follow. Thank you very much. As a streamer, that is one of the best ways people can support me, is by dropping a follow. Thank you so much. And I hope you enjoy the con. Have you published any books yet? No, but if things go well, next year, like 2027, I will have a nice publishing opportunity. I cannot tell a lot of details yet, but I have a huge fantasy book, like 260,000 words, and I've submitted it to some interesting projects, and I'm awaiting on results. Oh, I don't have a lot of things posted online. Did your PhD thesis get published? Yes. I will not reveal it to not, because of course my PhD thesis, you can get a lot of my personal information from it, but there's not a lot of things that I have out in the public yet. That's why I hesitate to call myself a professional author yet. I've been writing a lot, but mostly for myself. I have some short stories that I've shared, some really wonky. But I need to build a structure for that. Basically, and Pickle is talking about my PhD thesis. The last 5 years. Oh no, yeah. I usually don't share them. I have a lot of things written that have been read by like friends and things like that. I need to have more things out in the open. That is a limitation that I have. It is something. That's why I'm streaming this. I'm literally trying to destroy my own flaw of sharing little. Because you can build a lot of bad habits by not sharing enough. Having feedback is very important. Yes. I definitely agree. My main struggle is the language and also lack of knowledge, because now that I'm a streamer, I've been way more exposed to different platforms and different ways. Like a year ago, I had no idea about these names and things like that. You told me, why don't you share your stories online? A year ago, I'll be like, where? What platforms exist? I was very lost in this media. I was completely lost. So I'm going to write down the names that you shared. Royal Road. If you have some platforms, feel free to write. You can't put the actual links here in chat. You'll get bonked by my bots. But if you have actual platforms that you recommend, let me know. They didn't. They were taking cover. Let me tell you, it's been 3 years since I'm working with authors and writers, so I own a software agency. Ooh! That collaborates with multiple brands across different industries. Oh, that's very interesting. Yeah, I definitely need to get more knowledge of the medium itself. So far, I have a lot of passion and very little knowledge. Yes. I know, and thank you for sharing. And I think it is better to share. I agree, to get exposition, to get the snowball going. On the other side, guns were protruding. I protruding. Protruding out of an. I'm currently working with a content creator. He's also a Twitch streamer named Total Party Killjoy. He streams like you, and he's currently starting. He will post them on Royal Roll. Okay, I'll write that down on my own personal notes here. That's and I mean, as I said, a lot of options. I didn't consider them because I didn't even know they existed. I have worked with many Twitch streamers as well. When my name is mentioned on several Twitch channels, also I've been granted a special badge by Twitch official. Oh, that's really cool. That is very, very cool. And I'm glad you stumbled upon my stream here today. I definitely, as I said, I'm definitely an amateur. But I mean, everyone was an amateur. It is about the journey, not the destination. This pirate drill. This feels too direct. Trails of smoke ascended from the guns protruding out of a pirate drill. Yes, sir. So that's what I do. And if you want, I can share a few samples along with some reviews and shoutouts, given that the other either's I have worked it. And I would love to share a few reviews given by the Twitch streamer as well. Pirates and Go, what a great channel. Hello, Dalinar? I mean, probably the name Dalinar, the way it is written, just reminds me of Dalinar from the Stormlight Archive, but that's probably a coincidence. But yes, I love playing Go. It is my favorite. It is one of my favorites. How many chapters are there in your story? So far? And also made Slazaya take you pickle. Like, this only has 3. This is really... It is pronounced the same, it is a coincidence. It's just my actual name. Ah, okay. Dalinar. I think it's not your first time here. I think I remember having this exact talk with you. I think it is hard for a streamer to remember every single person that has gone by. But I think I remember having this exact conversation with you. I'm talking about Dalinar, and it's just your actual name. And welcome. Last time I had to find out who the character was. I wasn't familiar with him at the time. Okay. And Prototype Shogun, welcome. Yeah, Dalinar. By the way, when I finished my PhD thesis, whenever I do a presentation, I include a citation from a work of literature. On my PhD presentation, I cited Dalinar from Brandon Sanderson's Stormlight Archive. It is how I ended my PhD. It was with a citation from Dalinar, the other Dalinar. What the ending chapter would be, I still have no idea. As I said, I'm working on my own other big literature project, which is the first book is 50 chapters. It is very well structured. This project right now is something that I started thinking and organizing and everything 2 hours ago. I went into the stream today just thinking, okay, I want to build a pirate story. That's all I got. I'm really going with the flow. Stretch. Thank you for the stretch. I was needing that. Oh, I have a Discord server. Links in the description. I have an abundance of pirate jokes. Let's go. These are not any pirates. I was doing some world building beforehand. I'm creating a world of underground pirates. They use drills and all. It's like a regular pirate story, but pirates operate drills and they try to raid tunnels of trade and things like that. This is underground pirates. The story. Dwarf pirates. Yeah, kind of like that style. I was having an easier time when I was just world building that now that I am actually trying to write words. Trigger behind the plates, an armor police on the other side, trails of smoke ascended from the guns, protruding out of a pirate reel. Let me just check. Oh, I think one of the messages got bonked by the bots. I don't know why. Side serial. Now I'm going to bait another. Okay, okay. Now the next sequence, bait silence all of the sudden. Sorry, I was thinking, bait the second, bait the second shot, and then describe options. Use description of options to describe the tunnel and layout. So the goal, we are doing more of a paragraph by paragraph structure for now. This is establishing the action. This is establishing the main confrontation. And then I want Robert will do something to bait a second shot. And then Sarah will start thinking about we go inside the mind of Sarah and we think about strategic options. And you use strategic options because Sarah is looking around. And we use the Sarah looking around and thinking to tell the reader what is around, basically. How would you bait a second shot? You could throw something, a piece of clothes. That feels too... I mean, throwing a rock since they're underground feels too... like there's rocks everywhere. Okay. Robert raised a steel pipe, pretending to take aim with a gun, and but as soon as the pipe left cover, it was shot with pinpoint accuracy. The metal ding. Okay, let's remove the echo here. And the echo, let's not be repetitive. The metal ding echoing through the tunnels. Diplomacy failed. Oh, I removed the... Oh, let's put the fuck here. Oops. Diplomacy failed. How much of what you've written is in English versus in Portuguese? Sorry, not very so. I know it's. We are talking about pirates and everything. I usually don't use this type of language, but for this story, I usually don't use. uh, but I would say 95% Portuguese. I'm a much better writer. Uh, I'm a much better writer in Portuguese than in English. Like with a very big margin of confidence, I can state that. Opponents got skill. Were certainly skilled. They did not even had any confirmation on numbers. Oh, posture check is also useful. I corrected the posture when I stretched, but it's still also always a nice time. Diplomacy failed and their opponents were. Now we are using opponents. I don't want to overemphasize the numbers because this is a 2v1 battle and the pirate is pretending to be more than one person. That's basically one of the pirate is just that good and they are pretending to be more than one people firing and everything. More than one person. I'm going to make Sarah become an adrenaline junkie. This is why I like to discovery write my characters. This is a very tense situation. And the fact that this is so tense, our main character will love the fact that this is tense and that the life is on the line. I will make this not only have not only quote unquote be cool, but I want it to have actual bad drawbacks. I want this will go well, but our character will face huge adversities because of this trait. I want this to be a key trait in Sarah. I just realized she will not. I was like, oh, are they cowering or not? No. Sarah could feel one wrong step and it would all be over. Faced with the weight, all be over. Okay, not the. Let's not use the dot yet. Faced with the weight of with the gravity of the situation, Sarah could not help but. What are you writing, Chaotic Nando? I'll go over the overview soon. We are writing pirates underground shooting pow pow pow. Feel her heart pumping with excitement. Her mind raced as she absorbed every single nook and cranny of the tunnel. Let's not repeat tunnel. A battlefield feels too... Scenario feels too machiney. The synonym of battlefield. Battleground? Arena. Arena? Frontline. Battle line. Everything you do is chaotic, yes! I am a chaotic person. Even my PhD was somehow very chaotic. Okay. This is a good point. Actually, before describing, I need to do a very quick break. This will not be a very long stream, but we still have time. But I'm just going to take the opportunity to do a very quick break, and I'll go over what we've already planned. So be right back in 1 minute. I'll see you soon. Un momento. Sorry, I'm back. The break took longer than what I expected. But yes, what we are doing, let's remove... Not remove, but let's paste down. Let's even create a folder that is just trash. I don't like to delete stuff. Let's not call it trash. And prototype Shogun, my break was longer than I expected. Sorry for not having the opportunity to say bye, but bye-bye. Hope you had a nice time in your stay here. Let's call it abandoned. The halls of abandonment. And let's grab all of these ideas. Okay, this is all for the halls of abandonment. Let's just organize what we have here, a clean home. And by the way, I'm not writing a lot of story yet, but the start is by far the hardest part of a story. The fact that we already did this much world building and already have some semblance of first sentences for our first plot. Okay, and this is all relevant. Story plot, chapter structure, characters, adjacent works, goofy stuff. The city. Oh, this is more for the adjacent work. And this is old stuff. I think these are empty. Yeah, let's delete those pages. I don't need a lot of Mipsum anymore. Okay, now this is more organized. Let's hop back into chapter 1. Drop your gun and we... Fuck! Shouted Sarah. This is a bullet whistle past her head. You're locked in a stalemate. Stalemate. On one side, Sarah and Robert were taking cover behind the metal plates of an armored police drill. On the other, no need to repeat side, trails of smoke ascended from guns. No need for the guns. Trails of smoke ascended from guns protruding out of a pirate drill. Robert raised the steel pipe. No need to add this. But as soon as the pipe left cover, it was shot with pinpoint accuracy. Docked, we can break this. The metal thing echoed loudly through the tunnels. Diplomacy had failed. Facing such skilled shooters, any wrong step, let's actually use stronger language. Diplomacy facing such skilled shooters, a wrong step meant death. Let's use stronger. No need to be like, oh, I'll be over. No. Let's straight to the point. This is why I like to first write and then revise. This is not perfect, but it is already getting much better. The policy have failed. Facing no need for such. Facing skilled shooters, a wrong step meant death. Sarah knew well. Sarah knew well. Knew fully understood the predicament they were in. Against such odds. Many. Cowardice was natural, was... Against such odds, cowardice was... I don't want to run too far to be like too... Oh, to be too roundabout. Where most would freeze in fear, Sarah could not help but feel her heart pump faster and faster. Excitement building up like pressure in a tank. I'm probably going to change that later, but so far for now I will keep it. Her mind raced. Let's keep sentences shorter. This is still not the peak of the action, but this predates the action. Short sentences. Short sentences are your friends. She absorbed battle line. If there was a line to victory, she would find it. There, she thought. And no further warning. She ordered. Cover me, Rob. And jump straight out of... No, and jumped out of cover. Now she's going to take a gunshot to the arm or the leg. It's going just grazing, just like a wound dripping a little bit of blood, but she's going to take a shot and keep going. I don't like how this sentence is right now. But I mean, this is also, I didn't like how this was, and it is getting better. Not perfect, but better. So let's keep going. Let's not trap ourselves in the cycle of endless revision. Because it is a thing that exists, and it is a thing that is very common. Ta-da. But honestly, I think pacing yourself as an author is very important in writing. And I think I'm kind of satisfied with the work we've done today, and I don't want to overpush me. I think, for example, sometimes if I'm doing a style of stream, I can go for 7-8 hours. I think for today, I'm going to call it at this. Just write a few notes. Improve sentence above. Oh, I like these bars. I need to use this more. Oh, and I didn't do this with that part. So when her mind is racing, that's our opportunity to describe the layout in this part, and this can be a way to make her mind race should be short, but this like it can even be standalone line. And then this can be slower, and you could describe things in a detail, but fast-paced. Like there was this, there was that, there is blah, blah. Like in short bursts. Describe the layout in detail, but in short bursts to match the action. Improve sentence above, and then more action, and eventually capture what's the name? Hetha? And another, let's write another. Hetha is operating alone, but pretending to be more than a single pirate. And I feel like that's where I am going to leave the story for today. The Halls of Abandonment. And I feel like I'm happy with what we are doing, and it certainly has wheels. I feel like it has potential. It is something that I can keep exploring. But yes, for today, I feel like it's a good idea to end the stream, and I'm going to see who I'm going to raid on either YouTube and or Twitch. And probably just Twitch raid. Oops. And let's raid. It's been a while since I've raided Axel. So let's raid Axel on Twitch. A good friend, Portuguese VTuber. I think he's playing Hollow Knight or Hollow Knight Silk Song? Hollow Knight Silk Song, okay. Axel Ski. No raid on YouTube today. And for the message, I think I have a thing prepared. Yes, if you want to add a message to the raid, just go for and then the winged Nando's arrived. It's a reference to the song, and then the winged hussars arrived. And just copy and paste it as soon as you arrive onto Axel's stream. But that was it for today. It was different. It was interesting to be back at writing on stream. Definitely a challenge. And I may try to rise up to the occasion and try to tackle this challenge more times. But we'll see how things go. I had a blast today on stream. Hope you also enjoyed. The weekend is ahead, so please use it to do things you enjoy doing. Have a nice time this weekend. And I hope to see you next week. Monday probably go. Wednesday, Factorio. Very likely, because all the cool kids are playing Factorio. Everyone who is cool is playing Factorio, so I want to check it. And then on Friday, engineering talk. I will do Q&A responding to questions about engineering. Now the raid is starting, so bye bye. Hope to see you in the next one, and have a great one, everyone.